Swedish Rhapsody was a Polish numbers station operated by the Ministry of Public Security. They used AM broadcasting and operated between the late 1950s and 1998. It was used to send coded messages to intelligence agents in the Western Bloc. It's notorious for its use of what was once believed to be the voice of a young girl speaking in German. Which was revealed to be that of a special machine used by the East German State Security Service. There is something so haunting about it all. The music played is so far from comforting. And I cannot imagine being a spy, laying low and trying to decrypt these messages each day. Better known as Transfiguration, this 9-minute live performance art shows a normal man using a range of mediums to continuously change into new beings. The description reads, "Who is behind our face?" Olivier De Sagazan, at first painter and sculptor, is more and more working in the living arts performance, dance, theater. He has since made more than 300 performances in 20 different countries. His performances have led to numerous collaborations with artists from the world. Ron Frick for Samsara, FKA Twigs for the immersive project rooms. I'm a huge fan of this piece, but honestly, I don't have a lot to say about it. It's beautiful and powerful, yet at the same time quite self-contained. Kuyang Dayak. This video has little explanation regarding its origin or what exactly we are looking at. This is meant to be Kuyang, if unaware. Kuyang means a person who manifests themselves as a flying head and internal organs for a variety of reasons, such as magic power, beauty, etc. This ghost is pretty popular around Kalimantan. They usually prey on newborn babies. They suck the baby dry of blood, and that blood will give them power. In reality, this guy is probably just laying his body next to the mattress and laying his head on it to complete the illusion at fixed angles. This is a video from Mexico. When the title, which is in Spanish, is translated, it reads, "A Chaneque appears." A Chaneque is a legendary creature in Mexican folklore, meaning those who inhabit dangerous places or owners of the house in Nahuatl. These small, sprite-like beings hold a connection to elemental forces and are regarded as guardians of nature. In Mexican folklore, Chaneque can be portrayed as either malevolent creatures seeking to cause harm or benevolent creatures attempting to aid others. They are said to have the ability to communicate with animals in the jungle and offer protection. While they may not always be visible to adults, children can sometimes see them. They enjoy singing, screaming, and crying, which I think we can all relate to. Putting two and two together, this video is said to show a sighting of a Chaneque, which is the strange, small, gnome-looking thing at the end that seems to disappear once jumping behind the small brick foundation.
¿Eso chavo lo que pasó? Vea, ya nos cayó el duende.
Ah, ¿cuál duende? No mames, aquí ha de estar escondido, a ver.
IB Area is an almost 2-hour-long movie from over a decade ago by Reindra Carton. The movie consists of barely cohesive scenes put together that are hardly coherent. Whilst I've read lots of explanations about this movie, there doesn't seem to be a leading theory. Many get overly distracted by the opening scene, which shows kids advertising themselves for adoption.
If you're surfing the adoption network, stop.
Whilst I think this is relevant and shouldn't be overlooked, I don't think it is the focus point of the entire movie. One theory I did agree with I found summarized in a comment which read, "I think this film, if you can call it that, is trying to grapple with the chaos and freedom that comes with being whatever you want to be on the internet. Note how much all the characters mention becoming other people, or being a clone, as opposed to being an original. And the dialogue is way ahead of its time. Fast editing, memorable dialogue, and one-liners that don't seem to mean much beyond being said to grab your attention. Everyone is screaming for attention, but no one has anything of value to say. IB area could be seen as being a dense way of describing what the internet both in 2007 and increasingly in the future. In this area, I can be whoever I want to be. And it truly was ahead of its time. The humor and editing style is incredibly similar to what was popular on the app Vine. If unaware of what Vine was, it was essentially just TikTok, but it didn't take off.
I have a time machine, I'm pro-choice, and I know your real mom.
Welcome to history. I was there once back in the day.
Look at this shit. My dads don't believe in doorknobs.
Look up to me, and not just because you're short.
What will I be when I grow up? A production company.
I can see it.
Oh my God, Jamie. Jail time, Jamie.
The world ended 3 weeks ago, starting now.
I really recommend watching some of this if you can, but I will warn you that I did notice around 3/4 of the way through the movie, there is a scene showing uncensored homosexual intercourse, which took me completely by surprise, and somehow hasn't been picked up by YouTube. The Milwaukee Protocol shares a large number of similarities to the album we looked at in the first layer titled Everywhere at the End of Time. Whilst Everywhere at the End of Time focuses on the different stages of dementia, the Milwaukee Protocol is each day of a human who has rabies. I will show some of the music and then read the accompanying description. Day 1. Prodromal. You should have gone to sleep earlier last night. Feels like you're moving through molasses waking up. Your head is pulsing. You're sweating a little. Maybe it's the heat wave. Later in the day, you feel a bit uneasy. Could be your anxiety. Been like that for a while, and your body is on fumes after only 4 hours of sleep. The subway feels louder today, though you haven't left work during rush hour in a while. You swear someone tried whispering in your ear on the way home. It is already too late. Day 2, symptomatic. You wake up on day 2 feeling different than before. A blistering headache becomes a rising fever. You feel exhausted and dehydrated, but the thirst goes away as soon as you see your sink. You're on edge for a reason you can't put your finger on. In fact, you're starting to have trouble putting your mind to anything. Your fingers slip, and you have trouble holding things. Nothing you do eases your anxiety. The sun goes down, your head starts racing. Someone's looking at you through the windows. Something's peering through the blinds. You're hearing voices. You're seeing eyes in trees. You don't sleep. You can't sleep. Day 3. Acute neurological period. Something sends you over the edge. Your speech slips and slurs. You ramble. You feel thirstier than you ever have in your entire life, and go for water, and feel horrified looking at it. You try drinking it, and your throat spasms as a pain like needles racks your mouth. You haven't drank water in days. Your lips bleed from dehydration. You feel sound. Your thalamus is on fire. Neurons hijacked by a ravenous force send the entire body into a frenzy. You're in agonizing pain. You spasm and writhe and scream and cry as restraints are tightened and sedation is applied, with said sedation becoming increasingly less useful. Unreal anger and absolute horror blend and become one as time stops meaning anything to you. Your hippocampus starts to go as you stop remembering things. Reality melts apart at the seams. Everything is infinite, and nothing is anywhere. You are alone, restrained, hallucinating, confused, frothing uncontrollably, and absolutely terrified. Day 4. Medically induced coma. Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence. This entire album is incredible in my opinion. If you need some good background music whilst you're working, I really recommend you check it out. The Organized Mind is a short film from 1966 by Jim Henson featuring Limbo, combining live puppetry with pre-recorded film. The soundtrack for the film was engineered by Raymond Scott. If unaware, Jim Henson is one of the greatest puppeteers to ever live, famous for creating the Muppets and Fraggle Rock as well as directing The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. This looks incredible in my opinion, and the premise of a tour around the human brain is both unsettling and somehow educational.
You know, I've learned to walk around inside my own head. You want to see my evil thoughts? I keep them over here.
Highly recommend checking this video out if you have the time. The description of the Louise Paxton channel reads, "If you have any information regarding Louise's disappearance, please contact us through this channel or via the Louise Paxton website." Louise moved to London in April 2007 with the hopes of any 23-year-old girl. A new house, a new start in the big city. She had her whole life ahead of her. Soon after moving in, she became the victim of a campaign of terror orchestrated by an unknown stalker. After being terrorized for 2 months, she disappeared from her home on the 1st of July. We are now calling for anyone who might have any information regarding Louise's disappearance to come forward. This is a personal appeal from her friends and family. If you are reading this, Lou, we haven't forgotten about you. We won't stop looking for you until you are found. Our prayers are with you. We love you and miss you. If you are able to, please get in touch.
I rang the police on Tuesday night and I told them that there was somebody at my door, and I'd asked him who he was and what he wanted, and he hadn't said anything.
If this all seems a bit suspicious, that's because it's another analog horror piece. I found a post that summarizes the whole series quite well. It takes a while to get going, but once it does, it becomes incredibly engaging. It centers on the titular Louise Paxton, the owner of the channel who eventually went missing in 2007.
Hi, my name's Louise Paxton, and I'm making this videotape to record, document an event which first started 2 nights ago.
Unlike other similar ARGs or series, this doesn't have a bunch of interconnected lore or puzzles to solve, so you can get the full experience just by watching the channel's videos from oldest to newest. The series perfectly captures that 2000s early YouTube feel, because it was made during that time, which gives it a grounded and lo-fi angle that accentuates its horror. It also doesn't try to go too big or grandiose with its scares, which in some series can break immersion. This feels a lot like a less complicated version of Ash Vlogs, whilst Ash Vlogs required you to go to multiple websites and social media platforms to follow the stories. The Louise Paxton channel is completely self-contained, which makes for much easier watching. This video is incredibly disturbing to watch. It is essentially 6 minutes of a terminally ill patient named Greg Sims writhing in pain, wanting to die. But the purpose of this video is not for it to be watched. The purpose of the video is for it to be stopped. When the original video was shown on an Australian website, there was a button at the bottom of the screen that read, "Stop the Horror," which would stop the video and redirect the viewer to a landing page that encouraged them to donate to help truly stop the horror. At the time of the film's release, the Victorian government was preparing to vote on a voluntary assisted dying bill, something that was still illegal at this time. Largely, thanks to this film, the vote was passed. This is a film that is truly unbearable to watch, but it is a film that helped change a law. Whatever your opinions are on assisted suicide, it's impossible to ignore the power of media. I'm going to show less than 20 seconds of this film now. Feel free to skip 20 seconds ahead if you do not want to see this, as it is incredibly difficult to watch.
Stop. I'm here, okay? No, Dad, no. Johnny, have to help,
Thanks so much for watching. Next week is the final episode of this iceberg. Please remember to interact with this video before you go back to reality. And until next time, keep fearing the living.